Hi guys, hi and welcome to today's webinar, Attaining Control of Your Invoice Processing with Paper to Digital Automation. So this is the second in this month's series. Today's presenters will be Jason Arundel, Business Development Manager here at Zaizi, and Lakshika Paiva, who is Product Manager here. This session will be recorded today, and I will be sending everyone a link to the recording once the session has finished. If you do have any questions today, please do type them in the chat box and we'll get them answered to you at the end of the session. I will go over to Jason now, who will do an overview and an intro into the webinar. Over to you, Jason.
Everybody for joining. So as Nav mentioned, I'm just going to give you a quick overview in terms of who Zaizi are, a little insight into Ephesoft, and also Alfresco, which are the two technologies we'll be talking about today. So, Zaizi, who are we? So, Zaizi are a specialist systems integrator specializing in open source technology, and we delivered a number of solutions around various open source technology stack. The two key ones which help Zaizi drive this business are Alfresco, which is the content management system, which I'll talk about in a little bit. We have been made Alfresco Partner of the Year, 2012 and 2013. We're seeing Alfresco is allowing Zaizi to provide significant solutions to various market sectors, allowing them to work far more efficiently than they have previously. And Ephesoft, which is the Intelligent Chapter software, which we are involving in most of our solutions in forward ways of capturing information. As I mentioned, we're a specialist systems integrator, and we're delivering the next generation of technology into organisations, which is allowing them to work more effectively together, allowing them to work smarter. We call these smart content solutions. There's three key sectors which we focus on, which is financial services, local government and central government, and retail. What we're actually doing with these sectors, we're going into organisations and looking at how they use information. How do they ingest information? How do they manage that information once it's within the organisation? And then how do they present that information out to end users? And that whole process of looking at what their business processes are, how the users use that information, and then mapping the technology to meet the requirements of the organisation. So we do that in a number of ways. First of all, is the content strategy piece. So we have three key business streams. Content strategy is probably the key to getting any project right. It's actually defining what it is an organisation is trying to do. What is the end goal? And then looking at what needs to happen within the organisation to achieve that goal. So part of it will be adopting a new technology and bringing on services. Part of it is also going to be around what change needs to happen within that organisation. So you're introducing a new process, you're introducing new technology, and you really need to understand how the business is going to adopt that. So what's the change in end user patterns? What are they going to have to do to adopt this technology? So how are you going to get that return on investment? Also looking at, does the technology meet the need? So what exactly do you need to offer to ensure that your business is going to be more performant? And Zaizi have found that this content strategy piece is the key to every successful project. Once we've actually defined what it is you want to achieve, it's being able to deliver that solution. As we've mentioned, there's two key technologies we're talking about today, which is Ephesoft and Alfresco. Zaizi specialise in all manner of open source technologies, but we have the highest number of Alfresco certified engineers anywhere around the globe. And we also have a high number of Ephesoft trained staff as well, Ephesoft engineers, to allow us to provide the best solution to our customers. And once we've delivered that solution, obviously we need to be able to support it. So it's making sure that never falls over, and if there's ever is a problem, that you've got someone on the end of the phone that you can talk to. So Zaizi are a global organisation. We are headquartered in the UK, so we have our core development team based over here. But we also have a very good development team down in southern Spain and in Sri Lanka, and also in Singapore. So we're delivering a lot of solutions into the financial services, and it's very important for us to have a presence over there as well. we're finding that the UK government is becoming a very, very fruitful market for Zaizi, and some of the solutions that we're delivering into government have quite a nice synergy with the finance industry around information protection. Some of the organisations that have joined us on our merry way, I won't sort of hover over those too much, but there's some fairly big names there. You see a good cross-section between government, finance and retail. And we were also mentioned recently in Wired Magazine as a great young technology company, so it's always nice to have other people tell you you're doing well. So let's go into the technologies we're going to be talking about today. So for our invoice processing solution, so the first one is Ephesoft, which is an intelligent capture software. So Ephesoft was created by a number of individuals that come primarily from Kofax. So there's a huge amount of collective knowledge. They came away from a very proprietary, onerous solution, came away and said, right, how do we disrupt this market? How do we sort of inject some vibrancy into it? And how do we provide value add to the end customer? So they came away and thought, right, we need to think about this in a different way. So where before it was a proprietary model, they've looked at open source. They're thinking, right, open source allows us to get to market quicker. It allows contributors to provide us with code and ideas. And it allows them to create what is a more robust, more scalable, and more functional solution than any proprietary model can allow. So what does Ephesoft do? So here we're going to sort of show you how Ephesoft works. So typically you have your ingestion points, might be scanning, email, electronic files. And what you need to do is you need to identify what those document types are. So we're actually going to here we've got a number of document types. So there's loan application, tax forms, payables, HR forms, invoices, and letters. And we're going to feed Ephesoft some sample documents. It's going to learn what those documents are. It's about certain word patterns and identify what it believes those documents to be. Once we're confident that Ephesoft understands the documents that we have within our organisation, we're going to switch it on and we start feeding in some document types. So here we come, some coming in from scanning, various will be coming in from email, extracting documents from the email, and then there are also going to be electronic files coming in various different formats. So we'll just wait for the Ephesoft engine to feed those in. There we go, a couple more coming through. So once it's done that, we're then told Ephesoft we want it to extract certain metadata from those documents. So once those documents are fed in, we say, right, we want to take various things like purchase order numbers or client names and addresses, invoice dates, whatever it is, and then we want to apply some clever workflows to that. So we take that information and then we export that into a system such as Alfresco, which will then contain the document, and then that can populate line of business applications. It might be your invoicing application, whatever that might be. For today's purposes, I think we're showing you the connection into SAP. So here's essentially that process. So as you can see here on the left-hand side, documents are fed in. And what we're looking to do here is automate this process as much as possible. So there's actually, as you can see on the top right-hand corner, there's only 2 points where human intervention may be required. So first of all, it's once if Ephesoft isn't confident enough on the document type, so it might believe it's a tax form, but it's actually an invoice, so it just needs clarification, and it will ask an operator just to clarify. And then the second point is we've asked it to extract some information, some metadata, and there may be certain information within that, sort of certain key metadata that it's not confident enough it's got it right. And it will ask for an operator again to intervene. And that typically looks like this. So you have your, here is a screenshot from Ephesoft. So you have your 4 documents that have been scanned in. So 3 of those documents it's quite happy with, but the 4th document it's a little unsure of. So here we have it's a loan application form. It's classified that document. Are we happy that it's a loan application form? Yes. We've asked it to extract certain information, certain metadata, a file number, a loan number, and a value. And it's the value that it's unsure about. So all the operator needs to do is to go in and validate whether that number is correct. And that's it. That's the only human intervention that we'd like to see. So what is this doing for you as an organisation? It's allowing documents to enter your business faster, so the process is to be kicked off. much quicker, without delay, without having to go through mailroom or going through certain processes, which may cause quite long time delays. Less labour, so there's less typing that information in. We've got less human error. And you're also having now an auditable trail of that document. So right from ingestion, what's happened to it, where's it gone, who's read it. So why is this better? We'll sort of go through this. It is thin client architecture. There is no there's no client install. All of the features within Ephesoft are included, so there is no additional add-ons that you have to pay for. Everything comes as is. There are no click charges, so there's no per seat. There is no per seat pricing. There are no scanned image pricing. It's a subscription-based model. So what you're actually doing is you're paying for services. You're paying for the support and maintenance of the system rather than paying for a license. And ultimately, because it's open source and open standard, it does come at a much greater price point, so you're saving money. So let's quickly go through Alfresco. It's the second technology we're going to be talking about, part of our solution. So Alfresco was created in 2005 by this man here, who's John Newton. John Newton, before he founded the Documentum, which is probably one of the biggest document management companies of our age, he came away very much the same, came away from Documentum, took the core engineers and developers and said, right, we've solved this issue before, but now with web technology and open source technology, we're going to create a new product and we're going to make it better and we're going to disrupt, again, a very stale market. Alfresco is an open source alternative to many of the big players. It's actually the leading open source content management system, electronic document record management system. You see here is the number of functions, so document management, record management, web content management, which actually manages the information presented to the web. There's also a collaboration platform that's provided with Alfresco and a very, very powerful workflow. So essentially, this is what Alfresco does. It's a core repository where you store all of your information, and then there's a number of services which it provides. So there's the document management system and record management. There's web content management. You can have Alfresco act as an email archive. Image management that we're going to be talking about today, so scanning images in. Digital assets, so Alfresco doesn't care whether you are storing or what content you're storing, audio, video, image, whatever that might be, text, it sees it all the same. As I mentioned, a very, very powerful workflow engine that allows you to provide some very clever business processes. And you'll see some of that in the demo that Lakshika is going to give in a minute around how we can automate and populate line of business applications through Alfresco. Electronic management and quite importantly, the content collaboration feature, which allows your employees to share that information and work in a collaborative way. Alfresco is a very, very easy to use solution. It's kind of Facebooky, I guess, in its look and feel. It's very intuitive, so much in the way that applications like Facebook, you don't have to learn how to use them, you just get on and use them. Very much the same vein. Alfresco is very intuitive, and we're finding for most of our customers that they've found the user adoption has been much higher due to that fact. Alfresco is available on multiple platforms, so mobile working becoming a much greater requirement every year. You can share that information with your mobile workers, so they can access it through native apps through iOS or Android. They can view information through a browser on their laptop. It's a very, very social tool, so you can like information, you can follow content authors, you can comment, you can share your views. It's allowing users to work much in the same way that they are within their personal lives. So the way that they share information, they use information, consume it within their personal life, is how they want to do the same thing in their business life. And Alfresco is providing that capability. This is probably the key point I want you to take away, I guess, from the Alfresco slides here. So Alfresco is unique in the fact it offers a hybrid solution. So you can have your internal Alfresco instance where you have all of your information and only your internal employees are accessing and collaborating on. Now, quite often the problem with that is that these employees need to share information outside of your organisation. So typically, all users will find a way around certain restrictions and things like Dropbox, Box, email, pen drives will start being used, information shared, and all of a sudden you lose control and you lose that control you have over the information. Alfresco provides a hybrid solution which allows you to have your internal instance and an external instance where you can sync content from within the organization into a collaborative platform where you can then invite third parties and suppliers, etc., to share and collaborate and access that information. Then once you've finished compiling a document, whatever it might be, you simply pull that information back into your internal instance across the firewall, and you haven't had to breach any security protocols by allowing third parties access to that information. We're seeing that solution is becoming very, very sought after, especially within government and finance and within industries where security around content and having control over where that content resides is paramount. And we're finding that Alfresco's hybrid solution is really the key to what these guys are looking for. Okay, I think I am done. So I'm now going to hand over to Lakshika, who's going to show you the invoice processing solution we've developed. And thank you all for listening.
With a high rate of purchasing, which is also a high frequency at 200 purchases per week. That's quite a large volume of invoices to be processed. Then we have incoming invoices from different sources, from posts to emails to faxes. And then we're looking at two types of invoices, mainly with purchase orders and without purchase orders. So this is typical in a manufacturing organization. And the organization also categorizes these invoices by vendor, the receiver, the purchase order owner, or even by department. So if we look at the invoice process very closely, it consists of a lot of stages, probably more than 10 if you look at this image. So basically your invoices arrive via post or emails or your faxes. So by email it could be an attachment. So basically what happens here is all of your invoices come with other documents in bulk. So the invoice clerk has to go through all of these documents and filter all the invoices and identify the owners of the invoices or departments. And so the classification is done based on the types, mainly with purchase orders and without purchase orders. So the invoices without purchase orders are also sent to the requester of the purchase, but the ones with the purchase orders are sent to be checked against its purchase order to the owners who have requested for the purchase. So these invoices are checked for accuracy of their total amount, probably currency, and if the goods are delivered properly. So then the invoices are approved by the purchase order owner. So if there is a constraint or limitation applied on certain invoices, they are escalated to the senior managers of the departments for approval. So after sign off, the invoices are scanned and posted into the accounting system in electronic format. So on the other hand, the paper invoices are stored in a critical storage. So we have a lot of inefficiencies coming in. There's manual labor involved. It consumes a lot of time, and there can be human errors occurring, and also there can be communication delays in approvals, and it entirely slows the payment process. large volumes, cost, paper inefficiency, duplication of data, and missing invoices in the end. So we'll go into our invoice processing solution, where I will show you how we do the invoice processing entire process differently to a manual process. So let me start with the demo. So I am logging into Ephesoft here. So when I log into Ephesoft, I am able to browse through some of the invoices that I have in my computer in electronic format, and I can upload the images. So Ephesoft will basically scan and insert the invoices into Ephesoft. But alternatively, you can upload your invoices via email attachments, or even configure your web scanner to receive a web scan to send your invoices to Ephesoft. So I will select my batch class and start processing my batch. So when I start the process, my invoices go into 2 manual stages. So we have configured Ephesoft to stop your invoices at these manual stages. So first one is the review, and the next is validation. So in the review stage, when invoices come to the review stage, it classifies according to the vendor types or the predefined types, according to the format of the document, or by understanding the look of the document by OCR. So here you can see that Ephesoft is less confident of the document type, so it has stopped it at the review stage. But the type has been identified correctly, and you can see the preview of the document so that you can verify the type. So since it's all right, I will save the batch and go on to the next document. So you can see it's the same, the document type has been identified. So I will save this batch as well. And then it goes on to the validation stage. So in the validation stage, what happens is your invoices are sent for extraction of data. So here what we do is basically Ephesoft extracts the certain fields and the values that we have specified in order to be extracted. It extracts this information and displays the information to you in Ephesoft itself. So if we look at this stage, you will see the invoice, the first invoice has been captured here, but we've got some of the fields unfilled which have not been captured. So we can click on these and capture the information, but we've got the purchase order number, purchase order total, and the created person as blank, mainly because this invoice is not related to a purchase order. So as you can see here, these fields are blank. So I will save this batch. Once I save this, status becomes green to show that it's good to go. But in the second document, we have got all the fields filled in because this invoice is related to a purchase order. So if you can see, if you notice, the invoice total and the purchase order total are different in currency, but the purchase order total and the created person is not extracted from the invoice itself. So it comes from the fuzzy database of Ephesoft, which is connected to SAP. So the Ephesoft basically uses the purchase order number to search the purchase orders in the database and picks the right purchase order and extracts the total and the created person from Ephesoft fuzzy database. So you see the entry in the database here. It searches and selects it. So we have the notes field empty because there are no notes on this invoice. So once the validation is complete, we will go into we will export this batch into Alfresco. So like Jason said before, Alfresco is, we use Alfresco for document management and collaboration in this demo. So I will go into Alfresco. For demo purposes, we have created an accounts payable site where all the invoices are collated. So as you saw in the validation stage, we identified an anomaly, as in the difference in the currencies of the purchase order total and the invoice total. So what happens here is, if these type of mismatches are identified, Ephesoft, when you export the data to Alfresco basically attaches the two purchase orders and invoices into a workflow and sends it for approval. So we basically have three types of invoices in Alfresco. One is approved, where you have all the invoices that are approved with or without purchase orders. Then we have the received folder, where all the invoices which are in workflows will come to this, where you have mismatches, so they won't be, they are in the process of being approved. And then we have the rejected folder for rejected invoices. So I will click on the received folder. You can see some of the invoices received here. So on receival of an invoice, I will get an email notification to my email box, which I can click and navigate to the invoice and click on the workflow. But alternatively, I can log in as the user and go to my task and click on the approval task. So you will see the task in a workflow here. So the comment says the totals are different. In the actual invoice, we've got in pounds, and the purchase order says it's in dollars. So this is a mismatch that we have identified and attached it to a workflow. So if we go back to the invoice in Alfresco, which has been exported, you will see the workflow stage that the invoice is in. And in addition, if we scroll down to the properties, we'll be able to see the metadata that we extracted in Ephesoft has been exported to Alfresco along with the invoice, the purchase order total, the invoice total, the dates, the approval status, and note, the purchase order number, the created person that we extracted from Ephesoft PageDB, and it says that this content has not been synced. So basically, once invoices are approved, we sync the content to SAP. So for the benefit of illustrating the syncing into SAP from Alfresco, I will approve this with the mismatch. So once it's approved, it goes into the received folder. So we'll go into the document library where we have the received invoices. Click on the approved folder and navigate to the invoice that we just approved. So I'll click on the invoice, and if I scroll down, it's the same invoice. So if I scroll down, you will see a change in the metadata and the status of the invoice. You will see SF3 details, the object name, the ID, the document type, file name, and also below we have the SAP status. It says link to SAP. That means it has been synced to SAP against the corresponding purchase order. So this is SAP. I have logged into the finance module where we have the purchase order table. So you will see the purchase order number here, and also the person who has created the purchase order. So if I click on the attachment against this purchase order number, you will be able to see the invoice that I just processed and approved. I click on it, I will be able to view the document in SAP itself. So it's basically linked to SAP's purchase order. So we'll go back to the presentation. We've done the demo. So what do we do differently, and why do we say our invoice processing solution is much more better? So we've done some significant developments by integrating Ephesoft, Alfresco, and SAP using ConnectStars, and also first point is about integration of Ephesoft FuzzyDB with SAP to establish a two-way communication. So we basically searched the FuzzyDB using the extracted purchase order number from the invoice, and then using that we retrieve the purchase order owner field into Ephesoft. So this comes as a metadata field which we exported into Alfresco, and then we automatically trigger invoice approval workflows in the case of mismatches in invoices, and also if there is a limitation in the amount that we need to approve, and also we check for constraints or business rules in the organization. The third one is we sync Alfresco's invoice document to SAP. So basically we sync the invoice data and attach the document against the purchase order. So in order to establish the connection and transfer data to and from SAP, we used an API provided by ConnectStars. It enables to integrate interfaces of Alfresco and SAP to transfer metadata to SAP and store information as documents, and also sync content to either one of the platforms. So we'll look at the added advantages of our solution. We offered multiple input methods as well as export methods. We offer, in Ephesoft, we offer unlimited invoice scanning and capture. Then on the Alfresco side, we have approval workflows which trigger automatically based on constraints and email notifications on invoice approvals. Then our search becomes faster in Alfresco because of the extracted metadata. Then on the integration side of the ERP, as in SAP and Alfresco that we saw today, we've integrated and established a two-way communication, and we also manage incoming and outgoing documents from and to SAP and Alfresco. Then you can manage our reporting and module data because you have all the information recorded as metadata, which you can audit. And also it tracks the status of the synced invoices, the workflow status, and so on. So finally, to summarize on the business benefits of our solution, we looked at an entirely automated invoice processing solution. It saves a lot of time. It reduces the amount of labor. Your approvals are faster than ever before, and you can automatically validate and check for business rules that you apply on your payment process. You can eliminate inefficiencies of paper-based invoice processes. It completely removes your costs of paper and physical storage, and also additional labor costs that are involved in managing the manual process. And finally, it streamlines your entire accounts payable process as you prefer in your organization. So thank you for listening in, everyone.